What's up, guys? Cwesolo here, and today we're going to be working on the game for a little bit. We're trying to get the ball to actually work, so we have a new ball that is... I'm basically remaking the ball in its entirety to be more realistic, and it's going to be in C++, or it is in C++ now. And we're going to be trying to go through and essentially making it work with the levels. So I'm going to go through and... basically organize all the levels today. There shouldn't be that many to do. There's only 30, so it really shouldn't take too much effort. Obviously, we're going to look through the levels, make sure that everything's all good in terms of making sure everything's placed correctly, and hopefully we'll get the ball actually working. The ball works, generally. We can go ahead and take a look at it real quick. I'm going to go ahead and move OBS over here. And, whoops. Okay, that's fair. So we're going to go ahead and take a look at that. Yeah, okay. So here we are in the engine here. If I go over to... I had the base level here, so we're gonna go ahead and make our way over to the base level. This is basically the level that creates all the other levels, pretty much. So we have the random maze generator with the starting area, and it's just basically an empty maze. This is all it really is, and yeah, that's pretty much what this is for. But we're trying to make the ball here, so I'll go ahead and spawn it in. This is the ball. I'm basically just using the Unreal Engine's starting asset, the beach ball. So as a kind of placeholder texture for now, to make this work. As you can see, the ball is quite a bit more realistic. Kind of is able to bounce. You can jump too, but the only thing is on the static meshes here, they don't jump, which I'm pretty sure I just need to enable collision overlap events on them, right? Which isn't anything hard to do. But to be able to do that, I want to organize each of the levels into folders here, because I didn't do that before, and I probably should have done that to start with. So we're going to go through each of the levels and put everything in folders and pretty much make sure everything's all organized. So that way, when I can go through and I need to do the thing with the ball in the C++ here, so if we take a look at the C++ code, so we have a jump function here that has a jump counter. So we have a counter. The reason why is because this code is going to be the blueprint, basically, for all the other balls in the game, right? All of the balls are going to inherit from this code right here. They're all going to be more realistic as a result. I'm not even close to being finished with this. As you can see, I have comments here on what things are supposed to be, what they're supposed to be doing, and stuff like that. But we have all this code here that is setting things. This is just the constructor for this. So yeah. If you've never worked in Unreal Engine, if those of you that have worked in Unity, the code in Unreal Engine is C++. So these are all just pointers, pointing to these attachments and stuff like that. These are creating, these are each individual variables that are creating the different things, and then we're also just pointing to different functions that are within those variables using the arrow operator here to point to these things. The root component is basically, so if we open up the ball, so we go ahead and open up the ball here, the root component is the static mesher. This is, so if we open this up in a blueprint view, which is what we're in right now, this inherits from the class that I had open here. So, but as you can see here, that is a root component. So yeah, and we could even add blueprint functionality to this if we wanted to. The event graph does exist here, so if we wanted to say print, we can print a string, and you know, print string, and it'll just print hello. And if we compile this and we run it, it'll say hello. So the base framework is going to be in C++. So we're going to go ahead and compile that again because we don't need that. So yeah, that's what we're doing. As you can see, if you look at the ball here, we have this nice little box collider here. That's because I was having trouble with it. So if you took the code from the Unreal Engine's ball rolling script thing, you can basically have a ball that climbs walls, right? If you go up to a wall, you'll be able to just mash spacebar or the jump button on a controller and climb the wall. You don't want the ball to do that. I don't want the ball to do that personally, because that kind of breaks the entire purpose of the maze, right? So that'll break this, because all you'd have to do is just climb the walls until you basically get to the end over there. So, and no, this maze is not a particular maze in the game. This is just a placeholder maze. I can change the seed of the maze if I want to on the panel here. So, but yeah, basically the C++ is just going to be a base version. I'm going to try to pack as much functionality in this, so that way I don't have to make child classes of this. I'm obviously going to have to for some other balls in the game. I want to have a teleport ball and a I'm trying to think. I have them all written down as the ideas for what kind of balls are going to be in the game, but I'm going to try to pack as much functionality into this as possible. So as you can see here, we have functions here that are like, sprint, which is going to work with the blue ball. Not the blue ball, the sprint ball, or whatever color it is, teal ball. The jump function, so for the double jump ball, which, yes, that kind of does break the game. You can't jump over walls, but there's going to be a cooldown for it, so that's okay. I'll have a cooldown for that. It'll be like you'll be able to double jump maybe once every 20 seconds or something like that. I don't know. There's going to be balance to it, trust me. So this is basically, I'm going to just walk you through this entire script. Some of the code is borrowed code from a tutorial that I watched. So making the ball roll and stuff like that, obviously this is kind of common sense, but I did follow a tutorial because I personally am not very familiar yet with the API with Unreal Engine. Most of my coding that I've done in Unreal Engine has been blueprinting. I know C++. I can use C++. I know how C++ works. I'm familiar with it, so it really isn't that big of a deal trying to learn this kind of stuff, but learning the different things that you can do without actually following tutorials is rather difficult, and I've also spent a lot of time doing that here. The only things that were pretty much copied code from the video, which I'll probably throw a link in the description to it if you want to make a functional ball in your game. Basically, we're taking, we're just using forces to do this. So we're having a force X and a force Y, and we're checking the value, the axis value of the camera to see where the camera is, so you can move the camera around and it'll roll in that direction. It's pretty basic stuff, not really crazy. Pretty much the only reason why I watched the video is because I needed to figure out how to get the blueprint code down into C++. It's not as easy as one may think. Basically, the rest of the stuff is pretty much common sense. This code doesn't work. I need to figure out how to get delta time. I don't know how to do that yet. Well, I know what I need to do, but I just need to figure out how to do it. So, but these are control. So these two are for controllers. So, but mouse input works. So, yeah, these are just for the cameras. You can't actually use the controller to move forward and backwards. So if I grab my controller here, we just won't be able to move the camera around. But I'm pretty sure controller input. Yeah, see, controller input works. Just no camera movement right now. So yeah, I'm using a controller. I can we can prove this real quick. I'll prove to you right now that I am using a controller. Actually, I think OBS is, we'll go ahead and, I'm going to go ahead and add my camera here. That way I can show you. It got removed somehow. So we'll go video capture device. Sure. We'll go USB. Resolution. Will be in 1920 by 1080. Okay. And we're going to grab this here. I got to find where it's at. No, it's being weird. Whatever. I'm not going to worry about it for now. Probably should have got that in order before the stream, but that's okay. We'll just go ahead and... I have controller, and it does move around the ball. So just the camera doesn't work. So yeah. That's basically what we're gonna be doing today. I'm sorry for the long introduction as to what we're working on today, but it shouldn't be it's probably just more tedious work. I figure that I would just do that. So let's go ahead and begin working on getting these levels all sorted out. We're also going to be rebuilding lighting through them, because I've was playing around with the static meshes to try to figure out why they weren't exactly working properly, and come to find out, I'm going to have to rebuild lighting everywhere. So this is why. After we rebuild the lighting, this will be gone. This will be fine. So yeah, we're going to just basically go through, and I am going to select each of the starting walls here, right? Just like so. We can actually do this from a top view, so we'll go ahead and grab the top view here, move out. It's kind of fine here, but we're going to go ahead and just select all of the wall here. And I suggest, if you are going to be working in your own projects in Unreal Engine, definitely keep your world outliner here pretty organized. I have done a terrible job at doing that for this game, so it's better to organize it now than when I have 50 levels and it's before release. Right? So we'll just get that done now. So we're going to call these starting walls, because they're in the starting area. This is the starting area of the map. We'll go ahead and do that. We have the starting wall. We're going to go ahead and grab each of these 9. Got a bit of a gap here going on. We're going to fix that real quick. Get these 10. These 10 starting floors. Click the folder icon. We'll call these starting floors, just like that. And here we are. And now the rest of what's here is the floor. So that's the remaining floor in the maze. As you can see, folder, we're going to just call this floors. And we'll grab the remaining walls here. Put them in a walls folder. And as you can see, everything's all set up. Now let's go ahead and take care of this here. This is a bit weird. So from the looks of this, we got a bit of a problem. These all need to be lined up like that. Make sure they're not overlapping. From the looks of it here, it looks like we have the walls back a little bit too far. So let's go ahead and take a look at this in the perspective view and see what we got going on here. So yeah, we do have a bit of an issue. So there are a couple ways we can solve this. The most obvious being, let's just move everything back to match up with this. Not entirely sure why this is like this, because these levels are years old, so when I built it I might have just not been paying attention. We can grab these 3 walls here and kind of scooch them, kind of like that. Only downside is we're going to have a little bit of overlap here. We can solve that by probably going to just get rid of them and find out as to why everything is doing that. Actually, I have a pretty good idea as to why everything is doing that. So we're going to go ahead and grab all these walls. Considering they all fit nicely together, it's a pretty reasonable assumption that these walls need to be moved back or forward. So we'll move these back to where they were, and we're going to grab all the walls. You can do this by shift. So click on one and then hitting shift and clicking on another one. It'll select them all. And we're going to move these forward just one step. So don't want to do too much. We want to just go 1. And we're going to do this from an top view so that we have a better look at what's going on. So we're going to go a few here and see how that matches up. Make sure we don't have any overlap issues here. Now, as you can see, we do have some issues here, but this is a really easy fix. We can move these walls just forward like that. It almost looks like everything needs to be shifted kind of forward a little bit, because that seems to be the problem. So we're going to go ahead, instead of doing that and moving those, these are in place, that's fine. Now we're going to go ahead and collapse these folders here because we don't need them anymore. Those are fine. The floor seems to match up just fine, so I don't think the floor is an issue. I think it's the walls that are the problem. So we're going to go ahead and grab each of the walls just like this, and we are going to move it up just a little bit. Just like that. And as you can see, we now have gaps between the floors, so it looks like the floors weren't the issue entirely. I'm going to move this out just like that. We don't want any gaps. Perfect. So now we're going to grab all the floors and move them as well. This might be just a weird thing of this maze, which is rather possible. I don't want to grab the starting floors. I want to grab the normal floor. Which is possible. Just a weird quirk. I'll go back and check here. But the way I designed the meshes, that isn't the case. So it was not a weird quirk of the maze. It looks like we need to move one more here. And it looks pretty good. It looks like there aren't any gap spots here. And now this is going to need to move back just a wee bit. Let's go ahead and take a look at this. Overlap. So we do have, from the looks of it, maybe a little bit. We can kind of fix this and make sure that they match up nicely. There we go. It looks like we're all set now. So no gaps. We'll test it real quick. Make sure there are none that we can see here. Obviously the ball can't jump right now, but that's okay. From the looks of it, it looks pretty dang good. All right. Very cool. So now we're going to go ahead and build this. So this will be really easy. Just click this build button. Get it all nice and built up. And the lighting magically gets better, and I think this will fade off on its own. At least it should. Sometimes the lighting gets a little wonky, but it's also because I'm probably running with rasterized lighting right now, so it's not going to be picture perfect. If we were running the ray tracing, it would probably not have these shadows existing. Or maybe it's a bit lower. That's a bit weird. Honestly, rasterized lighting tends to do weird things sometimes, like these random shadows. So it's not perfect. I could tell you that right now. If we were to grab, if we were to change our lighting, so we could just override the lighting here and have the ray trace lighting go, it would probably be significantly better. So let's try that. Let's see what happens. So I gotta look for the ignore. We'll just look it up. Ignore. And if I could spell ignore right, we're gonna ignore the save settings here. This is just a little thing. We're gonna look up for ray. So we're gonna cast ray trace shadows. As you can see, the ray trace shadows get rid of that little weird shadow thing going on. So yeah. You see the lighting gets much more realistic, which is fine. with rasterized lighting, I expect the weirdness. So we're going to go ahead and get rid of the ignore save settings here. And we're going to go ahead and just leave it as is because this level's done. So let's go hop over to 4. All right. Taking a look at 4 here. Everything looks to be fine. So we're going to hop in the top view here. Select the walls and just simply just like that. Put them in a folder. Starting walls. I'm gonna go ahead and look up starting floor. So we have all 10 of them here. Pretty easy. Slap them in the folder. We're gonna name the folder. Just like that. And then the rest of the walls. In there are going to be normal ones. So we got the floors. Just like that. And this will make it a lot easier to select things later down the road. So and as you can see, it also clears up the little outliner as well. So after that, as we can see, everything seems to be fine. So we will go ahead, and since there are basically no issues in the maze whatsoever, this camera view makes the walls seem exceedingly large. Trust me, this camera is going to be fixed. I have no idea where I'm at. This actually makes the mazes significantly harder. Maybe I should leave it like this. Beat it. Okay, so it looks fine. We're going to go ahead and go back to perspective view, build it, and it'll be done. And then we can move on to the next. And it'll do this weird... It always does this weird light thing, and then it like, oh yeah, it's fine. As you can see, again, weird shadows, but if we turn on ray tracing, that would go away. I don't know why it does that. I'm not entirely sure. I do know that rasterized reflections and shadows tend to be rather weird. Everything in here is a static mesh. I can show you that. They're all on static. Everything is on static, including the thing over here. This is static. So yeah, I don't know. I don't know why it gets weird. But it is what it is. We'll go ahead and save it. Move on to level 5. Again, we have this weirdness here. We're going to go ahead and scope this out. Make sure there's not any weird things going on. I'd rather just get this done now, checking the floors to make sure they're all matched up correctly and stuff like that now, rather than to have to do it later, because I'm going to have to do this at some point, is take a close, hard look at the levels. If I miss things, that's, you know, that I'm guaranteed to miss things. That's fine, but we'll try to catch them now. Starting floors are done. We'll go ahead and grab the rest of the floors here real quick. Toss them in their own little... Got the floors here. We're going to want to specifically grab the walls. You can see how many floors are actually here. It's a large amount of them. And it looks like we have some overlap here. That's not good. That could apply the weirdness to going on with the shadow here. Let me actually take a look and see what we got going on here. Can this floor be removed? I think I have a solution for that problem. It is going to be require some math, though. We're going to grab a mesh from the meshes folder. We'll grab the 300 by 300. The space actually may be 300 by 300, actually. Change the perspective, and we'll move it up. Just like that. That actually may be the solution to this problem. So definitely not, because it's too big. Take the underside view here. We'll make it unlit. That way we see what we got here. So Okay. So we have the wall. I'm actually going to reduce the size of this. So we're going to try like a, not 0.5, but like 0.75 on those two. And maybe that'll solve the issue here. Move this down like that. So as you can see, we're moving 10. It's overlapping here, which is a telltale sign that we need to lower the thing. So we're going to go ahead and go in the top view here. So we're overlapping a bit. That's okay. We'll change that to 5. Let's see if that will match up. It won't, but we're going to get close as possible here. So it looks like we're going to need to do 1, which unfortunately is kind of a pain in the butt to use. Cool. So we have a floor there. That's what I mean. Overlaps and stuff like that on the floors isn't good. You don't want things to overlap like that, because then you'll have, like, when you have two meshes overlap, the textures are both trying to render, and you can have like flickering and stuff like that going on. I'm sure you've seen that in other games, but that's why you don't want to have meshes. You want to try to not have meshes overlap like that. Otherwise you get some weirdness. But it seems that we fixed that problem by taking a floor and scaling it down a little bit. But that's okay. That's what the scale is for. Obviously, we're going to need to redo some lighting here. I'm not sure if that looks like it's overlapping, maybe just a little bit. So a little bit of overlap is fine. We can dial that in just like that. Make sure we're not getting any of that overlap. Looks like we're not anymore. So we'll go ahead and bump this back up to 10. And from the looks of it, everything looks to be good. So now let's, we're gonna go ahead and move this into the folder since we had removed the one floor. So we're gonna want that back in the folder with the rest of those. And we'll grab the rest of the walls here. Again, if you want to do this in your own project, click on one, shift, and you can grab all the nice little shortcut for grabbing all the walls. So it looks like we forgot to grab these walls, so we're going to actually click off of that, go back in the top view, and select those walls specifically. I don't know why the orientation of this maze is different than the other ones, but it is. The base level didn't exist at this time, so we'll grab those, folder, just like that. And we'll grab the rest of these, throw them in there like that. And as you can see, we have everything all worked out. And I'm going to grab this thing and toss it in there because it has to do with lighting. Perfect. Everything's done now, so now we can go ahead and build it. And it looks like this. It looks like we're gonna have to build one more time. This one is sunken a little bit below that one there, at least from the looks of it. So let's go ahead and grab this and pull it up, not 10 but 1. That looks to be like a decimal. Let's see here. What is the thickness? Oh. That could be the problem. This one looks to be rotated on the Z-axis for some reason. There. Honestly, it's really not that big of a deal. It's really not, having this, it's not really a gap, it's more of a, it's a height issue, honestly. And I'm not entirely sure why it exists. Although that is rather annoying to me personally. You know, honestly, I'm really not sure what's causing that problem to happen. Because they are both at the same height. Actually, take that back, they're not. You got a 16, what, 39? It's 1439, so we're gonna go 1450. Right. Wait a minute here. Let me undo that. Oh, 1440. Not linking up nicely with these two. Yeah, that looked to fix it. A tiny bit of overlap is fine. It seemed to fix the issue, so a little bit of overlap is okay, I guess. Nothing's perfect. So that's okay. Alright. It looks like everything seems to be fine now, so we'll go ahead and move on. We'll save this level up and move on to level 6. Hopefully this one will be easier. Oh, this one definitely should be, because we have pitfalls. So we're going to go ahead and grab these real quick. Just like that. Starting floor. Those two. Now we'll just grab the rest of the floor. And the walls. Spelt walls wrong. Whoops. Okay, and now we can go ahead and grab this reflection thing and toss it in the lighting. And now we have a nice little organized list here. Very cool. I'm going to go ahead and take a look at this real quick, make sure everything is fine. Obviously that just needs to be rebuilt. The lighting just needs to be rebuilt here, so that's okay. Okay, it looks fine. Except for here. One of those needs to be removed, and we gotta stick a small one here. I believe one of those do exist in the level, or I can just place one. I'd rather grab one that already exists and duplicate it. There are these small pieces that have, not that one, but that doesn't seem to exist currently. So we'll go ahead and grab one from here. I mean, I could leave that as is, but we're not going to. So I have these small 200 by 100. That's the size of how big these are. We're going to go ahead and rotate it on, I believe, the Z-axis by 90 degrees. Having this on 1 is good. Pain in the butt. Let's change it to 10. Place that just like that. And we can get more adjustment right now. Are we overlapping? Nope. And as you can see, that will actually fix that entire weirdness that was going on. Obviously, we need to bring it up because when we placed it in, it wasn't at the same level. Cool. And that's done. Like I said, these mazes are years old. So I don't know if I made this one. Either way, the mazes were made a long time ago, and I am not as meticulous as I am now. Like here we have the same overlap weirdness going on. So if we get rid of this piece here, as we can see, we can actually use another one of those 200 by 100 ones. So let's go ahead and grab that guy. So he is... I gotta find where I put him. Right here. That looks to fit there just perfectly. I'm going to grab both of these guys and we're going to move them up into this folder here. Not into that folder, but the floor folder. Looks like we have some more overlap. It's unfortunate because this is a... What is this? 200 by... It screwed up the numbers. This is a 200 by 300. We could probably fix that by grabbing one of these guys, the bigger, longer one here. Maybe. Actually, I'm 99% sure we can. We'll rotate him by 90 degrees. Try to have it exactly 90. I'm going to the top view here and make sure that this lines up. Actually, that worked out perfectly. Go to the left here. That could not have worked out any better than what it did. Again, man. That sucks. We have another spot that seems to be a problem spot. Oh, and this one's a weird one. That's fine that that's under the wall. Well, this one looks to be finished, so. Go ahead and build it. And that one should be done. Game dev can be pretty tedious. It can be a lot of tedious work, not gonna lie. Not all the time is it fun. I know that what I'm working on right now is rather boring, but kind of just goes to show that it's not always fun in games, you know? Not all the time is it going to be a great time. We'll go ahead and save this and move on to level 7. But you gotta get the work done, though. Again, we have this weirdness going on here, but that's okay. I actually need to go back to level 6 here and make sure that those other floors are into the spot that they need to be. So we'll go ahead and grab that, move it up into the floors, and save it again. Time to check over this one real quick. I want to check over it before we go ahead and make our folders. So. From the looks of it, for this level, it looks like this one is not gonna have those very same issues. So I think we can just move on to making our folders. Go. Grab the folder. We're gonna name this Starting the Walls. We'll grab the starting floor will all be together in one little spot because they have a different name. And actually, this is a fantastic way to check if there's any overlap. It doesn't look like there is. Fantastic. And we'll go ahead and grab all the walls. There is some overlap here into this wall, but that's in a spot where it's not going to be seen. That's fine. Same thing right here in a spot they're not going to be able to see, so that's fine. Yeah, so we're good. I realize that I'm giving everyone the the solutions to each of the mazes, but I mean, these mazes aren't really that hard. I'm probably gonna end up having to stop at some point here at showing you guys the mazes, but for the few starting ones, it's 100% fine, I think. We'll go ahead and build the lighting now. As you can see, we have some really good overlap going on here. We'll see if that comes out and when we get done building lighting. You can see that it does. Let's see if it fades off. So yeah, we are gonna have to fix this. So we're gonna go ahead and do that. And I'm gonna go ahead and do that. This generally means that this needs to be moved. Like that. Same thing here. Only difference is that this time we have 2 spots that are going to need 1 little guy. So we'll delete that guy. And there's a little guy that was a part of this. We'll copy him. And we'll place him right here. Right in line, just like that. This obviously means we're going to have to redo lighting again. But when you have massive overlaps like that, you do not want to leave that like that. People will notice that. And since this game is going to be released on Steam, I don't want to leave it like that. I want the quality of the game to feel like good quality. Here you can see that there's overlaps, and they really become noticeable when they're in the shadow. So again, we have spots like that where they need to go. Oh, whoops. Where they need to go. And you can see that we have a bigger gap here, but I can fill it in. Again, from the looks of this, there's a tiny bit of overlap. There's overlap definitely right here. So we'll get rid of that guy. I believe, yeah, this guy's fine. So looks like we have a few spots in the maze here that we're going to have to redo, which is fine. No big deal. As you can see, the shadow's still there as if it's still there. But these ones should be as easy as grabbing this here, rotating it by 90 degrees, and simply moving it into place. And doing the same once again over here. That way they don't overlap. This one, again, is going to need to be that little one. So we're going to go ahead and grab the little one, bring it over here, and it looks like this is wider than this for some apparent reason. These are supposed to be together like grids. And it looks like we have a bit of a... Oh. We'll move those over. Minor improvement. That way we could fit these guys in with no overlap. Got some more overlap here. I'm not sure why, but we can see it here on the inside. And I can see why there's overlap. Not only that, doing these meshes will actually, this way will actually, it could lead to more performance issues too. When you have a lot of meshes, the more meshes you have, the more resources that your computer is using, or game console, or whatever the device that the game is being played on, which means that you might have lower FPS because of having too many meshes. Obviously, in this case, AAA titles have way more meshes than anything that is ever going to be in this game. But again, when you have those overlapped meshes like that, it makes it not look good. You want it to look good. You don't want to see textures flickering in and out, doing weird stuff, right? So that's why we're going through and fixing these, and also making the folders that we need to, so that way when it comes to our ball, we'll be able to check all of the meshes all at once for generating overlaps, because that's what I need, right? All the things need to generate overlap events, so that way it'll interact with that little box collider that we have on our ball, like I had shown before. We're going to continue going through and checking each of these, making sure that we're not seeing any weird texture things. From the looks of it, it looks fine now. So I think we fixed all the spots where we had overlap. It looks like we have one here. Honestly, really easy fix for this. We could take this here, move it, rotate it 90 degrees, put it back. Now I don't know if all the walls here are still within the wall. Yeah, they are. They're still within the wall folder, because we shouldn't have had to place any new walls that weren't previously existing. So cool. This looks to be done now, I think. I'm just randomly clicking here to see if there's any kind of overlap here. I believe I've already checked that wall. So This looks to be fine. Okay, let's build it. Let's go ahead and build it. That'll tell us whether or not this is broken. And it looks better now. Oh, is this another overlap? It looks like it might be. It definitely is. Dang it. Looks like we're gonna have to build lighting again. I'm gonna find one of those small ones, because I just want to bring that over, because that's what's gonna fill this space. Okay. I don't know why, but it's always on the corners here that have those overlap. Again, we have an overlapping mesh. And typically with these overlapping meshes, it's really easy to fix these. All you have to do is take one of these. Obviously, when these levels were built, whoever built them wasn't as thorough about it. So that's okay, because I'm going through and fixing it now, but would have been nice. Cool. Let's rebuild again. I'm sure there are probably more, and this might be a constant theme throughout the rest of the levels. Hopefully not. Otherwise, that's going to make this way more tedious than what I was hoping. I knew that this was going to be tedious work, putting these all into folders, but yeah, you can see right here we have overlap. You can see by the fact texture is flickering like this. All right, let's put everything in the folders first, because that I know that all the wall types are being used here. So I guess we'll check the floors while we're at it. Have caps lock on. Grab the starting floor here. Alright, we already grabbed those. Whoops. I want to close that folder up. We're going to grab the rest of the floors here. Obviously, there's a lot more floor. It doesn't look like any of these floors overlap. I'm going to delete this wall. It's pointless. I know that there's walls that are overlapping, so I'm still going to put them in the folder, because any new duplicate walls that we make will end up in the folder as well, which is why I'm doing that. Alright, we're going to go back in the perspective view and see where these overlapped walls are, like right here. See which one we can delete. That is not... That might require... Or we can do that. That's fine. I don't mind that. That's not really changing the maze up too heavily. This can be fixed by just simply having a bigger wall. Or grabbing one of these. And that's fine. That is too big. a small piece like this one. Or smaller, not overly small. There. This wall is pointless. Let's get rid of it. And it looks like we're going to need a new floor. I'm going to go ahead and go in the top view here real quick, because it'll be easier to place that in. Yeah, this doesn't look like it overlaps with anything. So we're going to have to grab a new floor from the meshes folder here. One of these 2x100 ones. Move it 90 degrees. Okay, that's fine. Any more of these that are overlapping? That can just be solved by a bigger wall. Perfect. Oh, man. That is stupid wall placement and getting rid of it. Again, these areas are stupid. Why do they exist? No, actually, take that back. We'll go ahead and do something like this instead. Gotta put this in the floors here. Okay. Perfect. I think this should be fine now, but not entirely sure. I gotta make sure that there's no more overlaps here. I don't want to click on through every mesh in the entire level here, but I do know where they tend to occur at, which is at walls when they have these corners here like this. But most of these look to be fine now. A lot of times, these are... You could solve this by just simply putting in a larger wall. It looks fine now. We'll build it here and see if we see any new overlapping walls. All right. This looks to be fine. Now, I think we can move on. All right, I'm going to stop doing this at level 10. That way I've only revealed 10 of the mazes to you. So But this is level 9. And I'm going to be searching through here for... Let's put everything in folders first, as always. So we'll grab the starting walls. This starting area seems to be a bit bigger than usual. Just like that. We'll grab all the starting floor here. We'll grab the rest of the floor. Perfect. And we'll grab all the walls and just place them in a folder as well. While we're at it, we'll check for any nice overlaps. This one might be different from the last one. There might not be any overlaps. And I'll be surprised if there aren't. Just taking out a look at the outer walls here. Wow. I don't know why these two are like this. That is rather stupid. So we'll do is take this one, turn it to not 0, 1, just 0. Perfect. Obviously, again, we're going to have to rebuild lighting because of this. And, well, no, because I just changed something. It's just a constant theme, you know? Building the lighting. I have to do it 30 times over. You know, honestly, this doesn't look like anywhere is actually overlapping. And I'm impressed by that fact. This here is really stupid, though. I just want to point that out. I'll move that. This entire wall here needs to be shifted. One big wall is better than this is overlapping. Is better than 7 little walls. Let's see, 90 degrees. Excellent. That is looking great. Whatever. I'm not going to argue with this, even though one big wall would have made this better. There are bigger walls. Could have done a a wall of, what, 400 length? I don't know. The length of the walls are put in the names of the walls, so if we go take a look at my meshes, they have the wall, and this is 200 by 400 Unreal units, which is, I believe, centimeters. I think. I don't know. I don't remember what Unreal uses for their measuring system, but the names, the walls here have their own kind of thing going for them, though. They have the names that's reflective of their length. There look to be very few overlaps in this level, though. I will say that much. And I'm very pleased at that fact. I don't know why these two little pieces are being used here in this way, when you could use again, that's kind of dumb to do it that way. But that's okay. I'm just overly critical of my own game. That's all. Everything needs to be absolutely perfect. Okay, I think this level is ready to go. If not, I could always just come back to it later. I think we've spent enough time on this one. Because now I'm not changing just overlaps. I'm changing just general things that I find to be just stupid. You know? That's fine. Alright, everything looks to be fine. We'll go ahead and build it. Cool. That looks to be done. Let's move on to level 10, the last level we're going to work on tonight. At least for the stream here. I probably will continue working after the stream's over. Level 10 looks to be maybe not one of those ones where we have a whole bunch of overlaps. Whoops. We might actually have one right here. We do. We have 3 different pieces overlapping here. Why? I don't know. We'll get rid of that. And we're going to go grab a 200 piece. Because that's what we need here. If I can find it. There they are. And the same thing can be done on this side. Just like that. Again, here with the overlap. That can just be like that. Oh boy. Yeah, we're going to have a lot of overlaps on this one. I can already kind of see where they're at. As you can see, we have one right here. We have one here. We probably going to have one at just about every intersection point that there is. If there's not, I will be very surprised, but it's looking like most of them are. like right there. So let's get to fixing these. So we have one right here, so we're gonna delete this guy. Again, all you need is a 200 for this one, so we can honestly go grab this guy here. Have I made my folders yet? I have not. That's fine. That's okay. Whoops. You know, honestly, that's not as accurate as just typing in. That looks better now. Looks like a lot of these cases can just use the 200 wall. This wall here, the length, so the height is always like 300 or something like that on real units. But the length or the width here is 200. So that's how these are measured out. They all have their own specific length. They all have, there's differing sizes to make making these mazes easier. You can see here that that is indeed, and there's a nice way to fix this actually. We can take 3 of these guys and move them like that. Replace that corner piece with a 200 piece like this, and then grab one of the 100 pieces, which are floating around here somewhere. I can guarantee it. I don't want to pull one in because I know they are somewhere in the maze. Actually, there's an even better solution to this, just generally. I believe that is a 300, so we'll go ahead and grab that. And then rotate it. And then just fill it into the space. And that way we're not using more meshes than what we need. I'm pretty sure there's a way probably to make this absolutely perfect with all the meshes. Maybe make an algorithm for it, you know? If that even is a solvable problem. I don't know if it is. Given these lengths, make the perfect maze with no overlapping meshes in this space. Who knows? Any CS students out there, like myself, you might be able to maybe do the math on if that's possible. Do the complexity analysis of that kind of algorithm. See if it works. Here we're gonna want one of those little guys for sure. So we're gonna go ahead and copy this guy here. No, I didn't want to move him. I want to just make a copy of him. I would say 200 pieces could do this. You could do a 200 here, a 200 here, and a 200 here, but this is also fine because either way we're still getting 3 meshes out of it. So it really doesn't make much of a difference by that point. Do we have an overlap? Nope. We do here. Need a 200 piece. Oh, we have a nice overlap right here too, because this area is rather dense. Honestly, this is probably a better move just generally to do it that way. Also, cool Unreal Engine tip. You can use Shift. If you're moving an object, you can hold Shift, and your screen will move with said object. So, just like that. That can help you out if you need to move an object a large distance, like I just had to. We got some more overlap here. We're gonna go ahead and grab this guy here. Oh, make a copy of him first, obviously. Go ahead and move that over like that. I don't know if there's okay, these are fine. I think I might have just moved something. I think we're good. So let's not compile my code. Whoops. My code works. I know it works. I don't know why I'm compiling it. I'm gonna cancel that. I meant to click the build button. Alright. From the looks of it, the 10th maze is done. Take that back. We have another overlapping problem here. Is there another one over here? Maybe that was just the lighting being weird from a distance. Yeah, we have... I think I'm going to need to use one of the little guys here. Or what we can do, get rid of both of those. Because we have a length of 500 here that we can put. And that'll solve the problem really quickly. With no problems. Alright, let's build this one more time. And that should be it for this one. And then we could put these all into folders like I've been doing for the last 10 mazes. And maybe we can get the ball jumping properly. So let's do that. Alright, let's go back up here. And we're going to go ahead and go in the top view here. And grab each of these. Like that. Sometimes I accidentally hit the caps lock button. I have that happen in games quite a lot too. I'm sure those of you that play video games probably, with a keyboard and mouse at least, have that problem. It's like right there. I don't know why. It just kind of happens. We'll find the starting floor. It's somewhere down here. And now we can grab the rest of the floor. Grab all the walls. And while these are all selected, why don't we just take a quick look and make sure that we're not having any weird overlapping issues. If there was, you'd sometimes see them kind of like flicker here with the orange or the yellowish orange outline of each of the meshes, and it doesn't look like we have any overlapping anymore, so I think we're good. We'll go ahead and save it. I think these are built. So let's go hop back over into the base level. And let's go and start working on this ball here, this ball script. So that way we can try to get this actually jumping now. I have a test ball that is in Blueprint, so we're going to try with that first. I think that'll be in a faster prototyping solution than trying to do it in C++. So we're going to quickly use a prototype in Blueprints, and then we're going to try to turn that into C++. I think that is a pretty solid plan. So let's go ahead and do that. So we're going to hop back over at the base level because this will allow us to quickly test. And we have our starting floors and walls folder already made. We're going to move this up into lighting, and we're going to close the lighting because we don't need that open right now. All right, so right now this is our ball. We're going to basically recreate this with our prototype ball. So we're going to go ahead and make sure that our nice little box collider here that is that moves along with the ball, we're going to go ahead and take that and put it onto a blueprint. I already have a blueprint of this, but we're going to constrict it a little bit more than what it already is. So let's go ahead and go over to game modes folder, the ball folder. We're going to grab the ball test. And here is this. So before, and I'll show you that the ball does indeed climb, we're going to try to get rid of this. So that's the plan here. We're going to take the ball, and we're going to go ahead and make this like 10. Not 10. Okay. Make that like that. I'll make this like 10. And then here we have our nice little overlap thing. So we're going to go ahead and compile that real quick. We're going to go ahead and change the player start thing. I'm going to add the blueprint. And we're going to change this to ball test. Just like that. Compile that. Open this up, and as you can see, we have a ball here. So obviously that's rotating right now. We're going to go ahead and fix that here in a moment. So as you can see, the ball can climb. We're trying to prevent this from happening. You don't want the ball to be able to do this. But you also don't want to like restrict where it's able to jump. So the way we do that is we are going to make this mesh, this box collider here, pretty much stay in an absolute position. And there is a way to do that if I'm remembering correctly here. I just need to figure out where. We'll try that. That ain't working. I know there is a way in C++ to do it by just simply, the code for doing that is simply just, let me see here. Using, setting the thing for using absolute rotation. Let's look that up. Yeah, so this is not using absolute. I don't even, there doesn't look to be a an option for that at the moment. So we actually might be stuck trying to do this in C++. Completely okay. Actually, we should be actually fine. So we'll just have to pay attention to where that's rotating. So we're going to go ahead and get rid of this code here. We don't want this code. We're going to move this. And for now, what we're going to do is we're going to simply just return what we're colliding with. At the moment, as you can see, it's saying that we're colliding with the floor, and it'll say, hey, we're colliding with these other things here. So, and that's pretty much what we're doing here. So as you can see, we're colliding with things, and that's fine. So it's showing up that we are colliding. The reason why is because I don't think I want that on, actually. So yeah, So obviously here, these are going to be generating overlap events, which is allowing this to say, hey, I'm overlapping with this thing, and it just pops up in the thing there on the screen. So we're going to get rid of this now. I'm going to still keep this the print string here. I just want to add some extra functionality here. So what we're going to do is on overlap begin, we're going to want to set the jump limit here back to 1, right? Because we're only allowing this ball to jump once. And then we'll go ahead and hook this up and see if this works. It should work. I don't see why it wouldn't work. It just should work. So we are not able to jump again, so let's see what's going on here. Let's go ahead. I'm going to go ahead and move this over to my second monitor to see what's going on. And it's clearly printing, so maybe what's going on here. Ah, yes. We're going to make this a bit simpler. So checking over the code here, we have this Boolean. On the ball that is in the script here, on the actual C++, that doesn't exist. It's just not there. The reason why is because I'm just using an integer to keep track of how many jumps are available, which is right here, the jump counter. Or, well, the jump counter is how many times you have jumped, and the jump limit is the limit of how many times you could jump. So the jump limit is determined here in the thing. You can also, this can be changed in Blueprint because of the U properties. So those can be changed in the Blueprint. These private variables cannot. So yeah, that's fine. Which is great. So we'll be able to do that there. But here, what we're going to do is to just make this simpler and a lot easier. We're going to go ahead and just say, we're going to just set can jump to true on landing. Now this is essentially going to repeat every time we're colliding with something. So it's going to just be constantly being set to true, which is okay. That's fine. That's really not a big deal. We'll compile this and we'll try this again, make sure we can actually jump more than once. So yay, we can jump more than once everywhere we go. So we know that this actually is going to work. Now we just have to adapt the code into C++, which is an entirely different task, entirely. So let's go and try that now. All right. We're going to go ahead and open this up here. This code should be fine, I think. I don't know. There is a way that I can debug this using Blueprint, though. Yeah, so this is checking that it is not this object and that it is the other component. I don't know that this needs to be checked. So let's try that. Let's just try that. We just want to make sure that the other thing is not the same thing. We'll compile that. This may take a moment. And while that compiles, let's go ahead and change our player start blueprint here. I want to change it to my ball. I guess that's the name of it real quick. And we'll wait for this to compile. We'll go ahead and save this real quick too while we're compiling. This may take a moment. hopefully this works. I'm really hoping that this will take my pain away of having to make these ball works. I guess while we're here, I can explain these other ones. These are actually just used making third-person characters, where the new ball is going to inherit from pawn, which is going to be great. It's also going to make the enemy AI significantly easier to work with, due to the fact that at the moment, if we go look at the enemy AI, if we go look at him, he's based off of a character as well. But at the current time, when he's looking, I'm going to end up refactoring this guy down into C++ eventually. But at the moment, he is just simply checking for the character. Now I'll be able to cast this to a ball specifically because there's a ball class, and that'll be related to the new balls, obviously. So that'll be great. It'll be a lot easier. Instead of having this go to, say, that, I can go cast to ball, and we're simply just grabbing that, casting it to the ball, setting it like that, and oh, I think my code might be done. Yep, and then we could simply do that. But for now, we're not gonna change that. That doesn't need to be changed yet. We'll change that another day. Hopefully this works now. Let's go ahead and take a test. All right, so we can jump once, and we can't jump twice. So I am mashing my spacebar, and we cannot jump twice. Let's go check the jump limit first off. And actually, I'm going to go ahead and do a thing here. So we're going to get rid of these. Actually, we're going to use event tick. We're going to go ahead and print string. And I'm going to go ahead and we're going to go ahead and do some fun debugging stuff here. We're going to go move this jump counter. And we're going to move it, we're going to control exit. And actually, I'm going to just control C it. I'm going to just comment that out real quick. That way I know that that belongs there. We're going to go ahead and go up here, and we're going to make it a public variable here that can be seen in the Unreal Engine. So print just like that. We'll go ahead and compile this real quick. Can also just do it from here. In Visual Studio. What? Why, Visual Studio, must you be weird with me? Alright, fine. We'll compile it here instead. Oh. Let me go check something real quick. Again, as you know, I am not fully familiar with the Unreal Engine's API yet. So, can I open that up? Okay, that's all we needed was the blueprint pure. We should be able to look it up. Let's try compiling now. You can't have edit anywhere and blueprint pure at the same time. Probably should have realized that when I was trying to compile, because blueprint pure is like, oh hey, this can only be seen, but edit anywhere is like, oh yeah, you can just edit this in the blueprint. Let's try compiling here. Maybe Visual Studio is being weird again. I could just make it edit anywhere and just call it a day. Honestly, that's probably what we're gonna do. Unknown variable. Maybe that only works on functions. Let's just make it blueprint read. Blueprint read only. Might have to go take a look at the documentation for Blueprint Peer. We can do that real quick. And check what the function specifier is for that. Blueprint Peer function does not affect the owning out. Okay, that has to do with functions then. That would be why that we're having problems. Okay. Blueprint callable. I guess Blueprint read only is not on here for some reason. Why? Did that compile? Yes, it did. Okay, well, let's not worry about that right now. Let's worry about trying to get this to work. So, jump counter, that's what we're looking for. Jump limit, jump, okay, this is not being able to be viewed here. Let's just grab these like this. I'm not trying to play around here. I'm just trying to get this debugging done to maybe try to figure this out. So we're gonna go ahead and save that and build it one more time. Function specifiers are, I guess, a pain in the butt. Okay, now let's try this again. We might need to close this out and reopen the engine, because sometimes this has a problem with that. So let's go ahead and save this, and I guess reboot the engine. Hopefully there's nothing wrong with my C++. I've had this crash on me midway through because I did something wrong. Alright, it looks like it's fine now. Alright, let's try to open this back up again. Let's see if we can get that jump counter. As you can see, the jump counter is here. We're just trying to get the jump counter, so I just want to see what it's at when we jump. It's going to be doing this every time, every tick, but that's okay. So as you can see, it's 1, now it's 0. And it should be going back to 1. So let's head back over to under C++ and try to change this. There might actually be a quick fix here. Let's just remove this if statement. Let's just goodbye if statement. Equals. All right. I gotta wait for Visual Assist to start existing. Jump counter equals jump limit. Go ahead and slap the semicolon there. Save it. We'll build it. do that. Let's see if this works. So it's at 1, 0. It should be heading back up to 1 when it collides. Again, we might need to restart one more time. Maybe. Because the jump limit's 1. So... you know what? Let's change this to released and see what happens. And that might do something. I don't know. Okay, so it's clearly not that. This is functionally the same code as before. Let's try giving the engine a restart again after building this one more time. While we wait for this to load, I am going to open this back up. Let's just test it now. Alright, so it appears we're still having the same issue here. You know what? I think what I'm going to try to do here is I want to actually see if this is even actually really working. Because this might not be working properly. And the way we can check that is by printing to the console what this is actually overlapping with. So I need to look up on how to print something to, not the console, but the print screen. And see if we're actually overlapping with stuff. I don't know if there's actually a header file for that, actually. We might just be able to use it, but I would take a guess that we're going to need a header file. basically what I'm doing here is I am essentially checking the documentation. So this is kind of what I'm doing here is I'm checking the documentation to see what the header file is if I can find it. So we're gonna look up here header files, and maybe we might be able to find yeah. Be nice if they had a list of all of the header files that exist, because do I have engine and engine.h here? Perfect. That's exactly what I needed. So there was a header file for those. We're going to go ahead and copy this here because we're going to want to include those. So we're going to go ahead and plop those in. I don't know if that needs to be... you know what? Actually, I forgot. I don't know if they're two separate header files or if they're just one single one. So we're going to have to find out if they are one single header file. I guess when we compile this, if there's any issues, I guess they're separate. I guess they are one single header file. Okay. To get this to print now, we have to use gengine. So gengine, we're gonna go use the arrow operator, add on-screen debug message. And we're gonna want to include some stuff here. I'm gonna just kind of plop some numbers in here. Just kind of copy this from the forums, and I'm going to want to change this text here to other. Compile this once more. So clearly I did something wrong. Can this have objects passed into it? I'm honestly not sure if you could pass objects into that. Other is an undeclared identifier. What do you mean? You know, honestly, I'm gonna just simply print hello or colliding. How do you spell collide? Jesus, I don't even know how to spell colliding. We'll just do collision. Whatever. We'll try that. we can figure out how to print what I'm colliding with to the console later, or the screen later. Doesn't really matter. I just need to know if this is actually even firing off like it should be. So that's all I need to figure out. If this never happens, then this function here is not working properly for some reason. And it could be something as simple as maybe my collider isn't triggering, or something as intense as, I don't know, it's just not working properly. This should work though, given that we assigned this function to act as this, but I don't know. So we'll find out real quick. And then if we don't get anything printing to the console, from the looks of it, we're not. So that function clearly is not ever working. Maybe the event tick was taking it up. I don't know. I would have seen a hello in there. I know I would have. I didn't want to open that up. I wanted to open up the my ball instead. Okay, I'm not getting anything to the console. Not the console, the screen. Let's see. Let's check the Unreal Engine documentation once more. Okay. So, yeah. To Google. That's what we're using. Right? That's what we're using, a box component? Yes, we are. I know this is like the boring part of programming, but this is pretty much what you do when you can't figure something out. And go to the documentation. Maybe that's not the first place you should check. Maybe try YouTube videos, but I don't want to get like copy striked or anything like that for checking YouTube right now. So the documentation is where we're going. Not only that, you'll probably get the most up-to-date information. Even though I'm not using Unreal Engine 27, I'm using Unreal Engine 26, or 4.26, the documentation should be mostly the same. Okay, well, let's try... overlap. Let's try that. Not what I'm looking for. I'm looking for overlaps here, not... Actually, you know what? Let's check something here. This issue might actually... There might be actually nothing wrong with my code. now that I just remembered something. Our collider might not be, this actually might, oh, we actually can't change anything with the collider. Okay, so the issue, whoops. The issue here might be the fact that when we look at our collision for our meshes here, right? Let's just open up the mesh here. There's probably something here that I can... So, as you can see here, these are all like set to block, right? Now, we can change this. So, say we were to change, you know, world dynamic, right? That would mean that it would generate overlap events on world dynamic or world static things. Now, obviously, in this case, we could set my collider, right, in for my ball to a world dynamic thing, right? Which is really what we probably want to do, because if we looked at the ball, the little ball test here guy that I have, his actually might end up being world dynamic. So he's just okay with just overlapping everything, obviously, because we want that to overlap, right? So I don't know, maybe that's the problem. And he's set to world dynamic, so which is great. And he generates overlap events. But for the ball here, this guy, that may be why we're not getting any kind of response here. So there might be a way of changing that. Let's look at the details panel here. Yeah, there ain't really anything here to play around with. So let's go and try to set up the collider here then in the C++. This should be blueprint read and write. I don't know why it's not. That could probably be something for another day to figure out. Wonder what this does. Let's see here. There is an extremely large amount of stuff to look through. Why does this have no code in there? That's weird. That function essentially does nothing. Okay. This is going to be a lot of reading to go through here. I just need to change the collision type, I guess. Maybe that'll solve the issue, but I would do that in Blueprint if I could. But what's weird though, maybe I need to make it public instead of private. Maybe we could try that. I don't know if that's gonna work, because right now it's set to protected. Maybe that's the problem. Let's go ahead and try moving this. We're probably going to need to restart the engine again. Oh, and I need to get rid of something here, otherwise this is going to break. Okay. Let's try this and see what happens. I'm gonna go ahead and try opening this up again. Alright, let's just save everything and try restarting. Hopefully this solves the problem of not being able to click and see what's going on. Yeah, still nothing on that details panel here. That might be a separate thing that I might have to figure out. Interesting. Okay, well, I'm going to put that back to where it was then, because then there's no need to even have it in public if it's not going to work. So we'll just keep that where it is, and go ahead and build this once more. The stream here has been going on for 2 hours, and I probably should go eat dinner. So I honestly think I'm going to call it here today. Yeah. Alrighty. We'll just go ahead and switch back to the camera, and we're calling the stream here today. Hope you have a fantastic day. Thanks for watching, and I'll be having a video out on how to learn game programming here in a few days, so look forward to that. Be sure to hit that subscribe button and the bell icon so that way you won't miss out on that. And I guess I'll see you guys in the next video or stream or whatever comes first. I don't know. We'll find out. All right. See you guys in the next video or stream or whatever. Have a great day and peace out.